Hey y'all, welcome back to the Modern Mix Podcast. This is episode 8, and I'm your host, Emily Bowie. I'm a mix engineer here in Nashville, Tennessee. I've got timestamps available for your convenience, so feel free to skip around. But if you would like to help me out, please consider giving this episode a like and subscribe. It's totally free to do that. Also, leave me a review. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Do you ever find guitar panning just a little bit confusing? I know I do, especially when all you hear about is only having 3 panning choices: left, right, center. But is that really true? I mean, if it were, a panning knob would be more of a switch with 3 settings instead of a full 180 degrees to choose from, right? But before we get into all of that, I want to tell you that I've got a free PDF guide on creating a song from start to finish that includes some great mixing techniques just like this one on guitar panning. And I would love for you to have that. My gift to you, you can download that at fairairmusic.com/start guide. There's also a lot more free goodies that you can download from that site as well. Panning is very important when mixing, and when you have a bunch of the same types of instruments playing in the same section of a song, it can become very dense in a mix and start to sound weighted down. And this can happen a lot with guitars. And I know there's a ton of videos out there on YouTube with people telling you that you can only pan left, right, or center. But I'm not going to tell you that because I have followed the herd before on this one, and I never really understood why this became the standard practice in guitar panning, because it really makes everything unbalanced and covered up. We have a lot more stereo real estate to work with to spread our mix. So why not do that instead? So I want to show you some of my panning techniques that keep my guitars nice and balanced while also helping to spread the stereo image of a mix. One thing I like to do is to keep in mind, where do things sound the most appealing? Bass, drums, those are in the middle because lower frequencies come through best in the middle than on our sides. So logic tells me that this is the type of concept that I need to keep in mind when panning all of my other instruments, and specifically here, guitars. So I've got a bunch of guitar tracks set up here, and we're going to take a look at how I like to go about panning this. Now, the first step in this technique is to just listen to them. We can listen in solo. So what I'm doing, what I'm listening for, is to see where they are, to see which ones sound kind of low, which ones sound high, which ones are kind of in the middle there. That's going to help me in placing my pan knobs. So what I did first was I went through it. I found out that these are my lows, these are kind of my mids, and these were high. And you can go in and label them so that you don't forget. Now, sometimes you're not going to have an even number of guitars, just like I do here. These are more or less solos. They don't play throughout the entire song, so I'm kind of doing those a little bit different. This one's also included in that as well. So, I've got the higher guitars here, so I want to pan my highest sounding instrument in the group, right? These are just guitars, all the way out, left and right. For my medium, or my mid-rangey kind of on that whole spectrum, a little bit off the sides. I'm lifting that off the sides because it's a little bit lower and I don't want the sides weighted down. And then the low guitars are even further off the sides. So let's take a listen and see what that sounds like. Sounds pretty good. I feel like that's filling things out. Now, I want to also keep in mind to take a look at my group track where I'm sending all of these guitars and take a look at what that's doing. See how there's a lot of nice movement in there? It's not just standing like this. And if everything was on the sides, that's what it would be doing. So we're creating movement. We're filling up space where everything is able to come through. Now, one thing that I want to do next is show you or let you listen to what the difference sounds like. So you've heard that. Now I'm going to pan everything hard left and right. I'm going to play that, and then I'm going to undo all of that so that you can hear what it sounds like when you don't have everything weighting your stereo image down. So here's everything panned hard left, hard right. And here it comes off. That was a pretty big difference. And I'm not even panning that very hard. If you're not watching this, I've got my high guitars all the way left and right. I've got the mediums about 80%, and the lows I've got at around 70, 73, to be exact. That was a huge difference, though. We didn't do any EQ moves, and that opened up so much. We felt all the movement. You feel more emotion come through, and you've opened up space for everything else. So keep that in mind. Something that I also like to keep in mind is to watch your group tracks. Make sure there is some movement down there. We don't want everything to be like, just standing still on our meters. No movement at all. So something else to keep in mind is when you do have some of these solo parts. Let's get into one of those. So I have that place in a different area. It's almost sounding like it's a little bit to my left, up above my head and out front. And that's what I like in a guitar solo. So, pan those accordingly. Obviously, they're off the sides, but I have it more towards the left here. And the reason that I did that is because I had another track that was doing its own thing that I've got more towards the right, but up the middle. A little bit, we've got that at 24. So it's hanging on the right just a little bit. We're not straight up the middle because I don't want it to interfere with a vocal. So what I want to do is I want to balance that out. If I've got something, a little bit more active on the right side, then I want to have that other thing a little more active on the left. So now it's become a balance. So when one starts to play, and when that goes away and then the other side plays, that's created a balance in the mix. So I'm going to let you listen to that one more time. I'm going to play it using my panning technique. Then I'm going to have everything panned hard left, hard right. And then I'm going to go back to my original settings. And I'm not even going to tell you when I'm doing it. I just want you to listen, and you will hear such a difference. So here's mine. And then we'll pan them hard left, hard right. And then we'll go back to my settings. I know you heard the difference. So try this out if you're having some issues with how to pan your guitars and how to get the best sound out of them for your mix. Try this out. Do a little bit of experimentation. The key to the technique is to keeping everything balanced. One thing you do to the other, do to the opposite side. Lower things don't sound very good on the far sides. So keep that in mind. Using this technique has made my mixes sound more musical by letting everything come through and having its own space to move. And I know it'll do the same for your mixes. So try it out. Let me know what you think about this technique. And don't forget to download that free start to finish guide that's got a lot of awesome techniques all the way from coming up with a song idea all the way to the mastered final product. All right, y'all, this has been fun. Thanks for joining me on the Modern Mix Podcast, episode 8. and I will talk to you all real soon.